Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of Hello Hello the podcast with me, Jenz and
It's Raammo. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Wow, 2 weeks in a row.
I know.
Impressive. It's impressive.
Let's knock on wood because who knows what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, true. Round of applause for us. No, how you been this week, Jens? What have you been up to?
Good. I've been really busy this week actually. So
I was gonna say, yeah.
just surprisingly busy. And then DreamHack's coming up, so trying to plan all that stuff.
Yeah, when's that? That's only a couple of weeks away now, isn't it?
That's next week.
Yeah, damn, okay. So how long are you in Melbourne for then? Is it just you going for like a day or two, or?
I'll be over for the weekend till Monday, Friday to Monday. So she'll be a good time. I thought it was at the convention center because I think it was last year.
I think it was last year because I think DreamHack last year as well, like obviously after the whole COVID thing, I think they did a bigger thing than what they normally do. So yeah, but where is it this year? Is it in some smaller venue?
It's like at a Olympic Park or something. Like stadium.
Okay. Damn,
I don't know.
Cool.
But like I booked an Airbnb like opposite like across the bridge from the convention center. Now I'm like, oh no, it's not there.
Yeah, damn. Well, look, Melbourne's relatively easy to get around in. With
the trams will make it easy.
So it shouldn't be that big of a problem. But
gotta remember to tap.
Or not tap. I still don't understand.
Oh yeah, I
still don't understand.
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Dan Andrews sorted out. It's bugs the shit out of me. So look, this week as well, we did find a good couple of things. But we're also going to save a couple of things for next week, just because there are some pretty big releases coming out. Mostly this week, Dead Island 2, after literally almost 10 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Since being announced. It's insane that it is actually coming out. I honestly thought that past 2017, I was like, yeah, okay, this thing's dead. It's gone. It's not happening. Count my losses, and we'll see you next time, you know. But no, they re-announced it or something like that. Not too long ago, and it's coming out tomorrow for the recording today. So by the time that you guys are listening to this on the Friday, Dead Island's out. You can play it. We'll probably be playing it. It's in the world. And so next week we'll probably give our thoughts on that, because it's probably one of my most anticipated games of this year now.
You loved it, right?
It's like re-announcements. I absolutely love the first one. I have very good memories with it. Same with like its spin-offs in Dying Light and things like that as well. Those I've enjoyed because they're just like, they don't take themselves seriously. They're fun games. They, they're just, they're really just fun. That's the main part for me, is how fun it is. But mostly I remember it becoming, the first one becoming free with the Xbox Games for Gold way back when they first started doing it. And so me and a friend downloaded it on an Xbox, like I think it was our Xbox 360 we could download it on. I'm not sure if it was the Xbox One back then.
It would have been that.
But yeah, and we honestly finished it in a weekend because it was that fun. So very excited for this one.
4 players, right? This one as well.
I think it's max 4 players in this one too, which is that'll be good fun. So we should get a couple of us together to go and slay some zombies and things like that, craft some cool weapons, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Let's do it.
But yeah, so that will be next week's sort of main thing, and then the week after that, Star Wars.
Jedi.
The new Star Wars game is out as well. I absolutely cannot wait for that one. We are very much spoilt this month, and then a couple of weeks after that, Legend of Zelda comes out.
I'm so excited.
Oh my god, what a treat it is going to be for the first half of this year. I absolutely cannot wait. So you'll hear all our thoughts and more surrounding those releases and things like that. So make sure you subscribe, keep your eyes and ears peeled. First and foremost though, Jens, should we jump into the news? Because the first story for this week is another game that's coming out sometime within the next couple of months. I think it's coming out towards the middle of this year. But some recent news dropped surrounding this from the developer, which is somewhat interesting. And we're, of course, talking about Lord of the Rings, the new Gollum game that's coming out. And what they're doing is they're locking some pretty immersive elements behind paywalls. So I don't know if you've heard this, Jens. I don't know how much of the Lord of the Rings stuff you follow, or how, how much you want to envelop yourself in Middle Earth and like that sort of, sort of area. But the upcoming game is obviously just around the corner after it was initially announced way back again in 2019. So another one of these games that has been struck with a couple of delays. And then over the years, slowly revealing more and more about the game until previews started to hit sometime last year when the game was, again, originally meant to be released back in 2021. And then it was delayed to 2022. And then once again, delayed to 2023. It should now be coming up May 25th. So yeah, just around the corner now. And then this week, the publishers, Dalek Entertainment, have announced that fans of the Tolkien universe are going to be able to immerse themselves even more past just playing as Gollum. So, like, playing as Gollum, one thing, cool. We're going to be able to immerse ourselves even more, Jens. So Gollum is obviously going to come across, various characters across Middle Earth.
Yeah.
One of the most popular being the elves. And then Daedric Entertainment have gone so far as to get voice actors to record lives in Sindarin, which is the Elvish language spoken throughout Middle Earth, which you can listen to, Jens, for the low, low price of the extra $10 it takes to upgrade to the deluxe edition of the game.
Yeah.
People that are too poor and only purchase the standard edition of the game, not big enough fans, can only listen to it in plain old English or whatever language you decide to, other than Sindarin, because they're locking that bad boy behind a paywall. Which kind of sucks.
It's an interesting strategy, business-wise.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, because it would be more effort to do it. I'm wondering if they had recorded this whole game in English and then was like, oh, hang on, what if we added this section of Sindarin like last minute and was like yeah, I don't.
I feel like that would take way too long though. Like,
so you reckon
you hear stories of like how these these large RPG open world sort of games and how like there's tens of thousands of lines of dialogues that these voice actors have to record. It doesn't take. It's not like 2 hours in the studio and you're kind of done. It obviously takes weeks or months even to sometimes get these recordings out. So I'm sure they would have had this. Again, like this was announced since 2019, so they're obviously pre-working on it more than likely before then. So they probably had this somewhat planned some point between, let's say, 2017 and 2023 when the game is now actually coming out. So they would have had more than enough time to record all this dialogue. It's not so much that I think it's a last-ditch, add-in, but it's more so the fact that they have recorded all of this stuff and are now choosing to lock it behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Just for the people that consider themselves a hardcore enough fan to want to get the deluxe edition. Which is, it's kind of a shitty move. But again, like Jen said, I do kind of understand from a business standpoint,
I do and I don't. It's like...
Yeah.
It's so, like... I mean, $10 is $10, but like $10 in the aspect of the whole game. Like... say it's $80 plus $10, right? So it's $90 or $80. I mean. It doesn't seem like too much, but also at the same time, it's like, I wonder, because it's such a small gap, would you even bother? Or, like, I just don't know.
The thing is, I don't consider myself that big of a Middle Earth fan.
Yeah, I
a
wouldn't.
Tolkien fan that I'm not going to be like, oh, I need the deluxe edition of this game. On the other hand, for the Star Wars coming, I consider myself a big enough Star Wars fan that I would consider buying the deluxe edition or the collector's edition, or whatever they want to call it, for that game. Because for me, it kind of makes more sense.
Yeah.
But it's, because like exactly like you said as well, $10 in the context of things. Like if you told me like this bottle of water is $10, I'm like, oh, okay, that's sure, $10, fine. But if you told me that it was $80, but it's now $90, I'm like, well, that's a pretty expensive bottle of water. Hang on a minute. Like, I'm going to second guess it,
Yeah. I'm curious how many people will actually fork out the extra 10.
That's what I'm thinking as well. Because, like, I'm thinking, like, there's massive Lord of the Rings fans out there. Huge. They absolutely love the stuff. And I'm sure they're going to want to pay the extra $10 because it's a no-brainer to them. But I'm also thinking, like, it's a pretty niche game, I would consider. Like, in the grand scheme of things this year, I haven't heard that many people that are like, you know what, the one game I'm waiting the most for this year, Jens? The Lord of the Rings Gollum game. I can't wait for that. Like, no, I've heard people talk about they're more excited for, like, Minecraft Legends than they are for, like, the Gollum game. So it's, are they going to shoot themselves in the foot? I don't know. They did say though in the article that I was reading, they did say that there are still, even if you get the standard edition of the game and you haven't got the Sindarin voice pack like enabled, you'll still hear some Elvish lines. Some. Just not all of them.
Right.
Like, so it's, again, it's a little bit of a weird one, but
yeah, I mean, like, I've heard of paywalls being like characters, playable characters, like in Battlefront for Star Wars and stuff, but like voice lines is a new one.
It's a new one. It's a new
I've
one.
not expected in the 2023 cards.
No, that was not on my bingo card. But
no.
Yeah.
But curious.
I guess that's the
when it comes out. We'll see.
Yeah. Look, again, as much as I say I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan, I still probably will pick up Gollum and give it a go because I do enjoy the universe. Like, I absolutely love the movies, and I do want to try and read the books at some point as well. It's just getting my head around them first and foremost because they're quite large books. But yeah, I still probably will pick it up as much as I give it shit. You know, I'm not a good voice of reason. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, don't listen to anything we say, really.
No. This one as well, Jenz, I thought was very interesting because Angry Birds are going to be joining Sonic on his next adventure, which again, not on my 2023 bingo card.
Absolutely not on my bingo card. What the hell is this collaboration?
No. So,
I feel like this is... Yeah.
You know, I debated you a little bit. They're not really joining Sonic on his next adventure, but Sega is looking to tap into the mobile gaming market, and what better way to do it than to just straight up acquire one of the largest and most profitable mobile game developers, Rovio, who I'm sure most of you know as the original creators of the Angry Birds games for your iPhones and your Androids and things like that, as well as a couple of other games, but they're most popular for Angry Birds, obviously. So Sega are dropping a whopping, Jenz, 706 million euros, right? Which for us in dollary dues is 1.15 billion Australian dollars.
God damn.
To tap into, and I quote, Rovio's distinctive know-how in live service mobile game operation to help bring its current and new titles to the global mobile gaming market. And what I found most interesting in this is, yes, Sonic and Sega and things like that, they're obviously looking to go more into mobile gaming because it's growing, but just how much it's projected to grow, Jenz, because it's currently projected that the mobile gaming market is said to grow to $263.3 billion US dollars by 2026, with the percentage of mobile gaming to increase to 56%, which I found very interesting because if you asked me that maybe 5 years ago, I was like, nah, people are going to stick with their consoles for sure.
But
for sure,
says the person who plays Marvel Snap on their mobile phone.
That's true. Look, to be fair, let me see how much I've got on my Steam. This is not a metric as well because it has sat idly as I've been sitting in
it counts,
things like that. It does count. Currently, I have 31.9 hours of playtime on Steam alone. Right? Maybe divide that in half, 15 hours, let's say.
Yeah, okay.
So I do still play it on my phone, but I also play it on my PC. So, you know. I'm not 100% a mobile gamer yet. But, yeah.
Same. I'm not 100% about mobile gaming, but I'm curious.
Do you think this projected increase is due to the fact that streaming games is going to become a lot more popular? Like with the fact of like the Xbox Game Pass Ultra, which gives you access to like being able to stream your Xbox games and things like that through just your phone or your tablet or whatever you sort of device you have. Your Samsung TVs, you can do it with these days. If you buy like a newer TV, you can stream for free. You don't even need an Xbox console. You just need an account through the Xbox Game Pass Ultra. And then also obviously devices like the Switch and the Steam Deck and things like that becoming very popular. Do you reckon that this sort of projection is because of these devices becoming a lot more popular?
Like,
because I would say so.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I would assume so.
I think no, because say you've got an Xbox, right? And then you can stream it to your phone or your TV. You'd probably own that TV. You're not a kid, in a household.
True.
So And I feel like if you're an adult, you probably just like do it at your desk. I don't know. But like also, I'm wondering if the projection is purely because of how early people are getting phones these days. Like I remember I got my first mobile phone when I was old. Like I can't remember how old, but I was old.
I was in year 10 when I got my first phone.
How old is that?
So you're like 3 years off being 18 then, let's say. So
yeah, I feel 15, like I was 15 like, when I first got my phone.
Yeah.
And all I could play was Snake. Like it was bare minimum phone.
Oh, what do I think I got like the Cut the Rope was a big one. Fruit Ninja obviously was massive.
I love Cut the Rope, but that's when I had like a smartphone.
Oh, what else? There was a bunch of them back then that were they were cracker games, and that's back when games were like 99 cents a pop as well.
Yeah,
you know, like that back then they weren't really like free downloads. It was like free was 99 cents.
Yeah,
you know?
It was like cheap.
An expensive game was $4.50. Like
anything above $1, no way, no way.
Bro, you're kidding.
But yeah, so, I'm just wondering if it's because more and more people are on their phone. Kids are getting into like iPad kids. There's so many iPad kids.
Oh, dude, you have no idea how many.
I mean, you work at JB Hi-Fi. I feel like you'd see them firsthand.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
it's kind of shocking, honestly, how many of them have them. It's
I feel like because there's such an easy access to mobile gaming when you're younger, to like convincing your parents to buy you a Switch when you're 16, it's like just use your phone, right? Like so I mean,
the thing is as well, I think it's probably projected to grow so much because of how easy these games are to monetize as well compared to your big AAA games and things like that, because again 95% of the games that come out these days on a mobile device are free. They just have obviously free to download, might be paid to play ongoing. But yeah, they're very heavily monetized, which is obviously where they make most of their money and things like that. So that could also be the projection.
A lot of ads, and that's where they get their money.
Yeah, AdSense is huge.
So this projected money income could be from ads too. Like
it could just be gross revenue from everything. It's So there's a bunch of factors that play into it.
Yeah.
But I don't see myself being a mobile gamer past games like Snap. Like games that I can pick up, play for 3 minutes, and be like, okay, I'm done. But I'm not going to go ahead and download, like, what's that Pokemon, like, that's like League of Legends or something like that, that you can download on a mobile. Yeah, they got crazy these days. But, like, I'm not downloading that. I'm not downloading Mario Kart Tour. I'm not downloading, actually, hang on.
I want to try
Rainbow Six Mobile when it comes out.
I just want to try it, but I don't think I'll actually be playing it.
No. Hang on. If I can link my current Ubisoft account to the one on my mobile phone, if it means that I can finish my shitty challenges when I'm on the bus to uni, like, done.
Crossplay progression?
Ubisoft, you might convince me, all right? Add it in. You might convince me. But yeah, I'm not, they manufacturers sell mobile phones that are dedicated to mobile gaming these days. Like Asus have massive phones.
Oh yeah, there's like
that are just dedicated to gaming. That have they have
phone.
Yeah, the ROG like phones which have like fucking water coolers built into them. It's insane. They're wild. Yeah. Which they're dedicated to mobile gamers. Obviously.
God damn.
They're obviously mostly not as much as they sell them in the Australian market. They're not the most popular phone in the Australian market by any means. They're very much, I think, more bought in like the Asian market.
Yes.
From my understanding, because mobile gaming over there is huge. You can look up some statistics on it, but if you look at mobile gaming in like Western countries to like Asia, it's like night and day. It's crazy. So yeah, and that could also as well play a factor into why it's projected to grow so much. But no, it's very interesting. I'm interested to see what Sega does with it, if they're going to go like the Nintendo route and sort of make somewhat fully fleshed out games of their mainline characters, or if they're just going to like do somewhat half-assed but just heavily monetize it type of things, because Nintendo, I think, have been doing it pretty good with their mobile games, like the Mario Run and the Mario Kart Tour and things were quite popular. So
I think it's a generational thing as well, or maybe a cultural thing, like you say. Like, I don't think of my phone as a gaming device. I think of it as a watching, or, you know.
My phone is a communication device first and foremost. Then like I use it for social media a lot more than I think I do everything. And then like I'll watch the football highlights or something like that, or like I'll watch the game on the way to uni or something like that on it. I very, very rarely was like, you know what I feel like doing? Playing a mobile game. Like,
yeah, same. Just, it's not what I think of. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It is. But if you're looking as well, Jenz, I don't know if you're looking for any extra work or something like that, but if you're looking to get into this growing $263.3 billion market,
I mean,
apparently the move to Victoria is the go. Apparently the move to Victoria is the go because the state of Victoria is looking to spend $3.6 million, Australian dollars that is, on game development training, which is very interesting. The funds are apparently going towards the setup and establishment of, quote, specialist digital games and VFX schools in the region. The funding is supposedly part of a larger $5.4 million package, which is designed to provide Victoria's screen industry with skills and training programs encompassing film and television as well as games. So pretty much just
very
like
exciting.
multimedia as like a whole they're sort of going for.
Yeah.
But the video gaming industry is getting the bulk of that by the looks of it. Which is I commend a lot. Well done, Victorian government, because that's massive. And this announcement, you know, while it is just an announcement of funding and it is a great step in the right direction, the actual development of programs and facilities hasn't yet begun. It's still very early days. So the press release did call for expressions of interest from education providers to develop and run, you know, training schools and programs and things like that. Which is, you know, obviously they're still going to get that all up and running. So I'm assuming universities might make a big deal of this. That would be a big sort of thing, rather than starting up a whole new sort of, you know, a whole new type of school, I guess. Yeah. But given the inclusion of both game development training as well as VFX, you can speculate it'll likely focus on both 2D and 3D art disciplines using tools like Unreal and things like that, which these days you might think Unreal and you just automatically assume it is going to be for video games, but they're also using Unreal for like film and things like that these days as well, because of all the different scenes you can make in it.
Yeah, they make backgrounds and stuff.
They're massive. But I was going to add on as well, I didn't write it in the write-up, but I don't know if you saw, I was watching, it was on TikTok, but Channel 7 put up that as well, I think part of this fund was going obviously towards like the film industry down there. And they've just built those ginormous, I forget what they call them, but like the backdrop screens they're using in like all the Disney films and things like that. Yeah, for like Mandalorian, I think is the most popular sort of use case of it. I think they also use them for Last of Us as well, if not mistaken.
Yeah, I forget what they're called.
A lot of the big things, it's like a ginormous screen array, but they built like an 8-meter high one,
wow.
which is considered small. And they're also building another 12-meter high one just down the road in like the next lot or something like that. Damn. So it's, there is a big push for, you know, the film industry to sort of start coming down to Australia, which, you know, I think a couple of, like last year, towards the middle of the year, we've reported on Marvel also looking to come down and sort of set up their own sort of studio down here, because a good couple of the MCU films have been filmed on in both Brisbane and Sydney. So it's, it is already sort of starting to happen. But so long as we keep developing these, you know, these young growing talents and the infrastructure as well, surrounding it, that's going to be the biggest way to sort of get all these big studios and, you know, actors, directors to come on over and, you know, help with like tourism and help with, you know, all the extra income revenue that it brings.
Yeah, the employment would be amazing. I mean, like...
And that too, yeah. Because you think, like, you watch the credits of a film, there's hundreds of people that are on that, let alone a video game as well, which again can be, you know, up to hundreds of people that work on these sorts of things. So the employment is going to be insane for it. But it's good as well because, like... if you asked me 5 years ago, or even like 10 years ago, like when I was sort of starting to get into the IT sort of thing and, studying a lot more, if you asked me if I was looking to go into game development in like one of the universities down here, I would have said no, solely for the fact that there's not enough prospect for like a job afterwards. I basically have to move across to like Europe or the US to even be like think about getting a AAA job in a big studio. It would be a lot of indie work down here, which isn't always, as we've seen, guaranteed to, work out in the end. There have been a good couple of Australian indies come out the last couple of years, though, which is very promising. But it's, like the whole work part afterwards was a big factor for it. So having the government do this stuff is going to want to make kids out there be like, you know what? Maybe game development in Australia is a viable career path now, and actually study it and, follow through with it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, you did a little bit of game stuff with mobile games and apps, right?
Yeah.
In your
I've done a little bit of it. It's quite basic stuff. But, and like I could have picked, if I wasn't doing a major, I could have picked units that do focus on game development and sort of, graphic designs and things like that. But because it didn't make sense for my study, I didn't choose to do them. So
I mean, also like Victoria and Australia in general has been making some incredible indie games like Hollow Knight, Dredge that just came out, Unpacking. Like there's so many games that have been released from Australian developers that have made have become so popular. Cult of the Lamb, like they're huge.
And I think honestly, you look at that track record though, it has been within the last 5 or so years that those big games have come out because there's this whole resurgence from the government in, you know what? No, we actually will give funding to these creatives. We will give funding to, this industry, which they haven't really done for ever, basically.
Yeah, a lot of like gaming studios shut down because they just weren't getting funding. And...
I mean, one of the biggest ones, what was it?
I can't remember now. It's been so long. It was like Bethesda or Activision, something like that. Like
Blue Ant.
They were huge though.
The LA Noire peeps.
LA Noire. I'll look it up.
Like so Team Bondi.
Oh,
literally,
really?
A Sydney-based development studio. Team Bondi developed alongside Rockstar Games, LA Noire. And they famously, that was like one of the only games that one of their like biggest games that they made because they just couldn't facilitate staying open.
Right.
It's
I was also
they were founded in 2003 and they were defunct in 2011.
Damn. Yeah, 2011 was when shit started to go down for the industry. I was just having a look, like, alongside with games and, obviously having more funding into game development. But also, like, I feel like now there's a bit more esports coming into the mix of shit. Like, there's a diploma in esports that I just looked up. Like, and there's schools that do, like, esports tournaments. Like, and I know it's like, esports has always been around, but I feel like esports has never been huge in Australia.
No.
So it's just interesting seeing like the emphasis into this side of things.
Yeah. No, it's good to see as well because it does, it just gives kids something to work towards. Like kids, everyone loves video games and things like that. And one of the big things is always like, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life is the old sentiment. And it's like, if you love video games, try and get a job in the video game industry, there's so much that you can do for it and all that sort of stuff. And it is now a lot more of a viable option.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
It's really good to see. I love to see it. I hope they continue to do these sorts of things. And I hope that other states follow suit with Victoria as well. And it's not just a Victorian thing. I hope that, Sydney and Brisbane and, all these other cities and states follow behind and, help to facilitate the creative industries, not just video games, but music and film and TV, like a whole bunch of different things too. Because they all goes hand in hand with one another.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's very exciting stuff. I'm excited to see what comes out of this. Because again, all the creators are going to get that extra funding. It's going to mean bigger, better games. It's going to mean bigger, better TV shows, movies, so on and so forth. So, yeah. But Jen's, one of the things as well to not do in the video game industry is to pirate things, or not so much pirate things. Pirating's obviously bad, but just don't get in a scuffle with Nintendo because they will ruin you. Without a doubt, they will end up. It's not a good idea to play with Nintendo.
Don't mess with Nintendo.
A gentleman by the name of Gary Bowser, very fitting name, Gary, very fitting name, has the unfortunate role of having to pay back for the rest of his life Nintendo, as he was part of a well-known group of Nintendo Switch hackers, and has since been released from prison on good behavior. And even though he has been released, he's still in the process of paying Nintendo back, basically. So Bowser was a salesman for the Team Executor Group. I'm going to say Bowser. Yeah, it's fitting. He's the villain in this. Bowser's the villain. Yeah. Look up the head of Nintendo at the moment, and his name is Doug Bowser as well. Like,
really?
You cannot write this stuff. Yeah, you cannot write this stuff. His name is 110% Doug Bowser.
Oh my god.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
Incredible stuff. I don't know how Nintendo keep doing it, but they keep doing it. Yeah. But yeah, Bowser was a salesman for the Team Executor Group, which creates and sells devices that let users play illegal backups on their consoles, like the Switch or Nintendo 3DS. Back in February of 2022, he was sentenced to 40 months in prison. And during his 2021 sentencing, he was ordered to pay $10 million to Nintendo. To fully pay off his agreed-upon debt to Nintendo, Bowser is going to have to earn $40 million before taxes. Some outlets have done the math and come to the conclusion that the 53-year-old Bowser will likely spend the rest of his life paying back Nintendo. Just for... He wasn't even the one that was like pirating it. He was just a salesman that was associated with, this group. So like obviously it's all part of the same deal. It's still bad. It's still obviously not a good thing. But like he's obviously not the main ringleader in it all.
Yeah.
He's just a part of the cog. But that's just how hard Nintendo come down.
Yeah.
So it's this is one of many stories though. But the developer Nintendo has a history of being more than happy to legally punish pirates, leakers, or those who infringe on its copyrights. So if you take anything away from this episode, never, ever, 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 never pirate Nintendo content or any content for that matter, or do anything that infringes on Nintendo's terms of service, because they will hunt you down and they will ruin your life, basically.
Pretty much.
I've heard stories of them going after just like sole proprietors as well, like just single sort of people that are still pirating content and things like that, but it's not like they're going after a giant conglomeration, like a whole website of people that will go after a single person. And Nintendo doesn't, they have more than enough money to make people go to court. They do not care.
Legal fees is not a thing that they worried about.
They honestly, they will do anything and everything to make sure they take people down. And it's a very important lesson that, if you do the wrong thing, it will come back to bite you in the ass eventually. But no, I can't believe that, just for being a salesman in the thing, like, still selling the product is not good, but like $10 million.
That's a lot.
That's insane.
I wonder how much
a lot of money
he gained, because it must be in accordance to how much he's gained through these sales, maybe.
Yeah.
Or they just pull the number out of their ass, but like still.
I think it would, anything that he made off this,
profits,
I think would have been seized, obviously, like, because they're profits that are come from illegal goods. So it's like, because if that was the case, everyone would sell drugs for 15 years, do 5 years in prison, be like, okay, great, I'm a millionaire now,
Crazy.
Like, it'd be a very easy cheat code. But yeah, it is. It's very scary. It's a nice wake up call as well to still see that, Nintendo out there, they don't care. They'll come for you. They'll hunt you down. I'll get you.
Interesting enough, just on the side of torrenting stuff, pirating stuff, the Dark and Darker devs are encouraging people to torrent their game because they cannot release it on Steam. As they are in they're in a lawsuit with a big Korean company called Nexon for apparently ex-developers from Nexon who then created Dark and Darker. They were accused of having the idea when they started were in Nexon, so they were like, that's our property, but like, so the game right now, you have to torrent it if you want to play it, but the developers are openly giving you the permission to do so.
Yeah, they give you permission to do it.
But interesting that they like just play the game.
That's another thing. That's another thing that I have heard doing my course is they tell you, like, obviously at one point you're going to go and work for a company, you're going to go and work for a business, things like that, and they very strictly tell you, like, do not do anything that can be considered infringing on copyrights or infringing on property, or even like developing your own things on company hardware or software or using company resources, property. Because it automatically becomes their property. It's there's been very famous situations where it's happened before in the past.
What was it? Was it a film that was made? Because I remember when I spoke about this thing, it reminded me of either a film or a real life situation where this has happened, and I cannot remember for the life of me what game it was.
There's been multiple different situations where this has happened and things like that. It's quite prevalent. But one of the biggest things they said was, like, if you ever have an original idea or even somewhat of an original idea, write it down on a piece of paper and date it, basically, and sign it with yourself, because then it, like, if you take that to court, that is
your proof.
Very much like it's a very hard to overcome piece of evidence, because it's physically written down. But a very interesting array of topics on today's episode, Jenz.
Yeah, it's very like proper news stuff.
That's what I mean. Like, when I was looking up things earlier in the week, I was like, there's not that many fun things. And Emma asked me yesterday, she was like, what are you going to talk about this week? And I was like, it's not that fun of an episode. It's like, it's more of a serious one this week. So
it's more of a thinker.
We, you know what, here at Hello Hello, we like to have both fun, but also we like to sit down sometimes and talk about the serious nitty-gritty details, you know?
You wouldn't download a car.
No, you
don't download Nintendo, okay? They will fuck you up.
Please don't. I'm sure Toyota
Bowser will come and get you.
I'm sure Toyota will still not like you downloading their cars, but Nintendo most definitely will not want you downloading a Mario Kart car.
Nah.
All right? Just don't do it. It's not even worth it.
It's not worth it. They can't even let you fucking upload a video on YouTube about their games.
They have changed that. I think they changed it like a year or two ago. They're still somewhat strict about it. Like, it's gotta be. There's still some rules and regulations for it. But yeah, if you do want to find out, Nintendo famously a couple of years back were like, if you upload a video on YouTube, or like if you stream on Twitch or anything like that, a Nintendo game, we get the money from it. Like,
you will get copyrighted.
They just outright were like, yeah, we're going to copy strike your content. That's our IP. We own that money, basically. And so for 5-6 years, I don't know how long it was, people just weren't uploading Nintendo games to YouTube. Like, they just, if they were like, yeah, I'll take the hit, sure. Or they had a lot of other revenue streams to make money from.
Yeah.
Like merchandise, or, like in video ad deals or something like that. But yeah, they have changed it. They don't copy strike anymore, but I think there are still some rules in the way that you can portray and play these games, if I'm not mistaken. So they're still a little bit weird with it, but stream Nintendo games, you can do it now. Yeah. Anyways, Jenz, before we wrap up for the week, was there anything else you wanted to add on before we do go?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, nothing from me either. Thank you guys for listening, as always. Thank you guys for watching. I'm hoping this week wasn't too much of a dry one for you with all of the more serious stuff, but we'll hopefully try and find some more fun things for you next week. But anyways, we'll see you all then. Bye-bye.
Bye.